Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing fine. Today we are going to discuss the different types of time derivatives and certain terminologies that you are going to see in our future classes. Uh, Let me introduce myself, Dr. Saurabh Zubaida. I'm the course coordinator for Transport Phenomena for final year chemical engineering. I'll just start with certain guidelines that you have to make sure that you are carrying something to take on notes. The PowerPoint presentation has recorded voice. Please use headsets for better voice quality. Make sure you have the latest update of Microsoft Office. However, older version can also serve the purpose. And feel free to contact me in case of any specific queries regarding today's topic of discussion. There are certain home care for people with suspected or confirmed COVID-19 cases. That is, you have to wash your hands regularly. And you have to avoid unnecessary exposure to an ill person. When coughing or sneezing, cover the mouth and nose with flexed elbow or use a disposable tissue. And keep on monitoring your health for any symptoms such as fever and cough. And if the symptoms persist, please contact your family doctor. Transfer phenomena. It is a phenomena based learning. What is phenomena based learning? That you won't find a definite uh, derivation for the equations that we are going to study. However, based on observations, based on performing experiments, we are able to find out certain relations, and most of these relations hold true for a majority of the scenarios. Only there are certain scenarios, special scenarios, where such kind of observational analysis is not possible. So majority of the scenarios that are being done, or the initial equations that we have seen, that is Fick's law, Fourier's law, and Newton's law of viscosity, all of these are basically driven by the phenomena based, means these all the parameters were observed and then some kind of equations were found out. So transport phenomenon is about observing a particular system. So in transport phenomena, whatever may be the scenarios, I have repeated this earlier as well, whatever may be the scenarios, you have to see it in terms of what kind of property that is changing, be it momentum, be it concentration, be it heat. So we have to observe a particular system in regards to the things that are going to change in that particular system with time, right? Upon observation, you have to draft a set of equations relevant to the system. Now what is this is basically, we have to draft a certain set of equations using momentum balance, heat balance, mass balance, and we have to come up with a and we have to define a particular system. Understanding the system in terms of known parameters such as physical properties of fluid, medium, geometry of the media, etc. So once the equations are set, we should know what are the parameters that we can measure, based on which we should be able to identify, or we should be able to formulate the set of equations to a more meaningful correlation that can be used. Now, based on the known parameters, solving the equations to predict various vectors and tensor quantities. Vector quantities include your velocity, tensor quantities will include your shear stress, right? Now, in the whole course, you are going to be subjected to three different types of time derivatives. Those are partial time derivative, that is denoted by del y by del t, total time derivative, that is dy by dt, and substantial time derivative, that is capital Dy by capital Dt. Now we'll see one by one what is the significance of each kind of time derivative. So wherever you are going to formulate a particular scenario, you have to take into account which kind of derivative you have to use, right? So to understand this, we are going to use a very crude example. We'll see this partial time derivative, that is del y by del t. Now consider you are supposed to find out the number of people wearing white shirt walking on a road in a busy market area. So you are assigned a job that you have to find out the total number of people that are walking on a very busy road, right? In this case, you are standing at one location. Now your the conditions that you are set is you have to stand at one location and you have to record only the number of people wearing white shirt at that point itself. So whatever may be the number of people that you are going to observe, it will be a position specific concentration. So your position is fixed whereas the number of people wearing white shirt is changing in front of you. Now obviously you are standing at a position and the crowd is moving in certain direction, right? So the number of people that are wearing white shirt will change with time. Hence, you are recording the change in number of people wearing white shirt at a fixed location. So you are not traveling anywhere, you are just standing at one place, you are observing the number of people that are in front of you, right? So del C by del T is basically what you are calculating. Means what? Del C is the change in concentration of people wearing white shirt and delta is change in time, right? So for any scenario where the point of observation or the point of reference is fixed and you are just going to observe what is there in front of that particular reference system, there you are going to see del y by del t or a partial time derivative. Now this particular time derivative, partial time derivative, you are going to see for majority of the scenarios where the point of reference is fixed and you are seeing the change in concentration at that particular point. I hope that is clear. Total time derivative. It is denoted by dy by dt. Now again consider you are supposed to find out the number of people wearing white shirt walking on the road in busy market area. Now obviously being a market area you would be moving, you would get bored standing at one position. So you would move along the road and while you move along you are noting down the concentration of people wearing white shirt, right? So you can move sometimes along the flow of the people, sometimes you can go opposite in the direction of the flow, right? So you would have your own velocity, right? In some direction there would be some x component of your velocity, one some y component of velocity and some z component of velocity. You also have a velocity which is changing with time, and as you are and as you record only those number of people wearing white shirt that are in front of you, the concentration of people wearing white shirt would be a function of position and your velocity. So here your velocity is important and your position is important. So whatever the concentration that you are going to find out is going to be a function of the position as well as velocity. So in terms of equation, how to put it down, it is dc by dt, that is the change in concentration with time, will be equal to dc by dt at xyz. Now this particular term is denotes the change in concentration at some x, y and z with time. Dx by dt is the x component of your velocity. This is the component x of velocity at which the observer is moving, and dc by dx at yzt, this is the change in concentration of people wearing white shirt with respect to x direction, where in this case y, z and t remains constant. So this is at a particular distance, at a particular time y and z, you are going to find out the dc by dx. Similarly, dy by dt is the y component of the velocity of the velocity of the observer. Dc by dy is the uh, change in concentration in y direction, and where x, z and t are constant, and d is similarly for z direction as well. So if the observer, that is in this case you are the observer, what you are doing, you are going to find out the concentration of people wearing white shirt as you move along the, as you have got your own velocity. Suppose if you are going in the direction where there are more number of people wearing white shirt, the concentration would increase, dc by dt would increase. Now suppose if you are going away from the concentration, uh, away from the point where concentration of people wearing white shirt are is less, so you'll find the dc by dt value would be a smaller value. So the point of the matter is, if the reference or the observer is traveling, is having their own velocity, then whatever the concentration, be it temperature, be it momentum, it will be a function of the position, that is where that particular observation is being taken, and also the velocity of the observer. So we come to substantial time derivative, that is capital Ty by capital Dt. Now again, considering you are supposed to find out the number of people wearing white shirt walking on a road in a busy market area. In this case, you are moving according to the flow of crowd. Now obviously, in a very busy, uh, crowded market road, there would be a majority flow direction, that is more number of people would be uh, going in some certain direction, right? And you don't have your own velocity, whereas you are having the velocity which is equivalent to the velocity of the flow of people, right? Suppose if there is some suppose at the end of the shop, at the end of the road, there is some big shop which is offering maximum discounts. So obviously more number of people would be traveling in the direction of the shop, right? And you being just an observer, you are being just carried away by the flow of crowd, right? So in this case, your velocity is equivalent to the velocity of the majority flow, right? You also have a velocity same as that of the crowd, right? So suppose the velocity vector of the crowd is vx, x direction, vy y direction, and vz z direction. So the concentration of people wearing white shirt would be a function of position and crowd velocity, right? That is Vx, Vy, and Vz. So it is denoted by dc, capital DC by capital Dt is equal to del C by del T plus Vx del C by del X plus Vy del C by del Y plus Vz del C by del Z, where C is the number of people wearing white shirt. Now what does this signify? It signifies that the concentration of people that you are going to record would be a, it would 100% it is going to change with time. So that's what del C by del T is for, where please note that it is a partial differential, del by del T is being used. This, what does this mean? This means that you are standing at one position and observing, right? However, you yourself are now having a velocity of the crowd. Hence Vx, Vy, and Vz would be the velocity component of the crowd, and del C by del X, del C by del Y, and del C by del Z are the change in concentration in X direction, Y direction, and Z direction, right? So in, when to use substantial time derivative? When the observer is having the same velocity as that of the fluid of the medium. At that, at such kind of a scenario, substantial time derivative is being used. So you are going to come across partial time derivative and substantial time derivative in the future scenarios. We'll consider certain terminologies that are essential for taking this course further. First is gradient. It is represented by delta or del. The gradient of a scalar field is a vector field and whose magnitude is the rate of change and which points in the direction of the greatest rate of increase of the scalar field. Now this basically gradient is the change that you are recording. In terms of vector, it is denoted by I. I is the unit vector. I del y by del x plus j del y by del y plus k del by del z. Right? Now what is divergence of a vector? It is denoted by del v. Now what is del v? As we all know, del is I del by del x plus j del by del y plus k del by del z into, now v is a velocity vector which is denoted by ivx plus jvy plus kvz, right? So divergence of a vector is the change in velocity in direction perpendicular to the vector. So it is del vx by del x plus del vy by del y plus del vz by del z. Now here some vector calculus you should understand is I into I would be equal to 1, whereas I into j and I into k will be equal to 0. Hence you won't find that there is the term like del vy by del x or del vz by del y, right? Since I into j or I into k is equal to 0, only I into I is equal to 1, j into j is equal to 1, k into k is equal to 1. Hence you are not finding other values there. And curl of a vector. Now curl of a vector is basically the cross product of divergence of the gradient vector and our vector v. So as we all know, it is just a determinant of I, j, k, del by del x, del by del y, del by del z, and vx, vy, and vz. Now here we will come to know that now there are two terms that are there. One is del dot v is equal to 0, hence the flow is incompressible, and del cross v is equal to 0 if the flow is irrotational, right? So what is incompressible flow? Now del dot v, if it is equal to 0, this means that the velocity is not changing in x, y, and z direction, right? Suppose if the velocity is not changing, then it is termed as incompressible flow. That is, the rho and viscosity is constant. It is not changing with time or with direction, right? So you are going to use this kind of a assumption for in solving majority of the scenarios. And irrotational flow, the flow is irrotational only when del cross v is equal to 0. Now, what is irrotational flow? Irrotational flow is a flow in which each element of the moving fluid undergoes no net rotation with respect to a chosen coordinate axis from one instant to other. Right? Now, what is the meaning of this? The meaning, you can consider the example of a giant wheel. In the giant wheel, the people that are sitting in the carriages, they are moving in a circular form, right? However, they themselves are fixed at one position, right? In a ferry wheel, although each carriage flows a circular path as wheel revolves, it does not rotate with respect to the earth. As a result, the passenger remain upright and continue to face the same direction, right? So if ideally, if a particular carriage is fixed to the frame of the giant wheel, it should again be rotating, right? However, though the carriages are freely moving, and hence you see the same side throughout. In the similar fashion, the rotation of a fluid particle can be caused only by a torque applied by shear forces on the sides of particle. Now assume there is a fluid flowing and there is a particle inside it. Now this particle will be subjected to some torque because of the shear stress, because of the viscosity, right? And because of that, it will start rotating along its own axis, right? So if for the flow to be irrotational, the particle should not be revolving around its own axis, and this can be represented by del cross V, it be equal to 0. Now just a simple proof that you have to prove that del of rho into V is equal to V dot del into rho plus rho into del dot V. Now this is a simple vector identity that you are going to use everywhere, right? You are going to use it for Navier-Stokes equation, that is the modified form of equation of motion, and so on and so forth. So let us consider that V is a unit vector where I into Vx plus j into Vy plus k into Vz. Now we'll just consider LHS, that is del dot V, del of rho V, right? Now what is rho V? It is rho into I Vx plus j Vy plus k Vz. We are going to find out its del. Now del, we all know it is I into del by del x plus j into del by del y plus k into del by del z, and second term is rho into I of vx plus j vy plus k vz. Now obviously we are going to have a dot product. Obviously, as already discussed, I into I will always be 1, whereas I into j and I into k will be equal to 0. Hence LHS becomes del by del x of rho vx, del by del x of rho vx, del by del y of rho vy, and del by del z of rho vz. Now you have to expand this particular equation. You have to use dot product, that is d dx of u dot v is equal to u into dv by dx plus v into du by dx. Similarly, using the same analogy over here, it is rho into del vx by del x plus vx into del rho by del x plus rho into del v by del y plus vy into del rho by del y plus rho into del vz by del z and plus vz into del rho by del z. Now we have just rearranged it and you have to give it as equation 1. Correct? Now you just note down this equation. Now we have to prove that RHS, if you again we solve with this logic, we should get the same equation 1. RHS. In the RHS, this is the first term, that is V dot del of rho. Now V dot del dot rho is equal to I Vx plus J Vy plus K Vz dot I into del by del x plus j into del by del y plus k into del by del z. This is the gradient vector and rho is the density. So again, having a dot product, it will be vx del by del x plus vy del by del y plus vz del by del z, this value, right? Now multiplying this rho with rho, it will be vx del rho by del x plus vy del rho by del y plus vz del rho by del z. This again will become equation 2, right? Now the second term here is rho into del dot v. Now if you expand this, rho in bracket I into del by del x plus j into del by del y plus k into del by del z, and the second term is I into Vx plus j into Vy plus k into Vz. Now again, having a dot product of them, you get rho del Vx by del x plus rho del Vy by del y plus rho del Vz by del z. Now this becomes equation 3. Now you add up both these equations to form the RHS. So you are going to get rho into del Vx by del x plus rho into del Vy by del y plus rho into del Vz by del z plus Vx del rho by del x plus Vy del rho by del y plus Vz del rho by del z. So RHS, if you consider equation 1 and equation 4, you will find that LHS is equal to RHS. Hence, the identity that we are using is correct. So we are going to use the same identity for at various scenarios. Now, some do-it-yourself assignment. Suppose B is given by xy plus y square into I plus x square y plus y into j plus xy square plus y into k. Show that if the flow is irrotational or incompressible or both. So basically what you have to find out, you have to find out del dot v. You have to find out if it is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, the flow is incompressible. And you have to find out del cross v. If it is equal to 0, then the flow is irrotational. So you have to do this and you have to send this particular assignments. I'll share the details of the assignment very soon. Right? Contact. If you have got any queries, you can always contact me. These are my details. You can always contact me either through mail or you can give a call. Thank you so much.